In November 1988, the Maldives was the ultimate isolated vacation destination. Crystal clear waters, pristine beaches, and absolute quiet. That quiet shattered before dawn. 80 heavily armed mercenaries arrived by sea, turning the peaceful capital into an active combat zone. Their objective was simple: assassinate President Maumoon Abdul Gayoom and overthrow the democratic government. And looking at the capital city of Malé, an incredibly dense, tightly packed island with the ocean on all sides, the president had absolutely nowhere to run. Gayoom barely managed to slip into a safe house. From there, he began broadcasting desperate SOS messages to the world's superpowers, asking anyone for immediate military support. This map shows the massive distance separating the Maldives from the nearest US and British naval fleets. Even with all their military might, an intervention from the west was physically impossible. The island would fall long before their ships could arrive. The only viable answer came from New Delhi. Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi received the distress call and immediately committed the Indian military to intervene. That decision triggered a staggering logistical challenge. The Indian Armed Forces had exactly 9 hours to plan, launch, and execute a flawless rescue operation in a foreign country. The countdown started at the Agra Air Base. The 50th Independent Parachute Brigade scrambled, gearing up, uprating on the tarmac for deployment. But the military had a severe intelligence deficit. They possessed 0 tactical maps of Malé. Commanding officers had to plot a high-stakes urban rescue mission using whatever they could find, which meant relying on folded tourist brochures and outdated city blueprints. Despite the lack of information, massive IML-76 transport planes took flight just hours after the initial distress call. Without perfect intelligence on the ground, the Indian military had to rely on raw speed to overwhelm the enemy, pushing the entire operation into highly unpredictable territory. Approaching the Maldives at night was incredibly dangerous. As you can see, the Hululay runway takes up almost the entire island, leaving 0 margin for error, and the mercenaries had completely deactivated the runway lights. If the enemy had parked even a single vehicle on that pitch-black tarmac, the heavy transport planes would explode on impact. The pilots executed a blind landing. They relied entirely on their instruments and instinct, touching down in absolute darkness. The risk paid off. Commandos instantly secured the airport perimeter, crossed the water channel into the city, and pulled President Gayoom safely from his hideout. Realizing they were completely outgunned, the mercenaries panicked. They hijacked a commercial cargo ship, took hostages, and fled into the open ocean. But their escape route was already closed. They had no idea the Indian Navy had moved into position. The warships INS Godavari and INS Betwa intercepted the cargo vessel. After firing a series of warning shots and destroying the ship's communication arrays, the mercenaries were forced to surrender. In less than a day, Indian forces mobilized across land, air, and sea, proving that once activated, they left the enemy with nowhere to run. The mission was a complete success. Hostages were rescued, the government secured, and mercenaries captured, without heavy casualties for Indian forces. This diagram outlines combined arms warfare, a strategy where branches like the Army, Air Force, and Navy coordinate to strike a single target. Operation Cactus required these separate branches to synchronize within a microscopic 9-hour window, combining airborne drops, infantry assaults, and naval blockades perfectly. The execution was so precise, it immediately shifted how the global community viewed India's military capacity. When a crisis erupts in the Indian Ocean, the Indian Armed Forces possess the speed, logistics, and power to act as the region's first responders.